Oh, sorry about that. I was just getting the session lined up for this afternoon. Welcome to the Real Board Loft. I'm Trip Foreman, and this is the Lost Tube Pig. This is another one of the Taj Burrow Pro Model series coming out of Taj's time at home in Western Australia and following on the successful footsteps of the Lost Taj Burrow baby buggy. The Tube Pig, as you can see, is not for all-around surfing. The Tube Pig is for barrel surfing. This board is specifically made for tubing waves, whether it be tubing beach breaks or reef breaks, and whether it be the board, the construction, the design of the board, all of these different things are made for round waves. And we're going to walk you through it and then also answer some questions along the way. Let's start out with the questions. Number one question we're getting on this board is, how is this board different from the Lost Roundup and the Rock-Up? Both of those boards were developed as step-ups from hybrid boards in their line, namely the Rocket. The Rock-Up was the first board in that whole category, that whole compact step-up category, and it was developed for surfers that liked the Rocket or similar and wanted to have a hybrid style step up for better waves. So Lost made the Rock-Up. The Roundup was a derivative of that board and just a little bit looser on the open face than the Rock-Up. And this board, while it has a lot of the design tweaks that Lost learned from those two boards, it's a little bit different in that this board was developed from a shortboard rather than from a hybrid. So this board, if you're surfing a shortboard the majority of the time and you're looking for a good barrel board, a good step-up board, this would be a better choice because it's going to feel more natural to you as a shortboard surfer compared to the Roundup and the Rock-Up, which are going to feel better to hybrid board surfers. So looking at what's different between this board and your standard high-performance shortboard, compared to your standard high-performance shortboard, the Tube Pig has a little bit more width at 12 inches and 18 inches from the nose, and it also has more thickness in where my hands are here to here. And pair those two things with a fairly conservative entry rocker, and what that gives you is, number one, more paddle power, whether it be getting into the wave early or beating current. A lot of times when you get more powerful waves, more powerful swells, there's water swirling in the lineup, or there's sideshore current like what we get here in Cape Hatteras. But having that paddle power definitely helps to beat the current, stay in place on the peak, but also to get into the wave early and set your line and make the wave rather than not make the wave. The other things that you're going to see different in this board compared to your standard shortboard is the tail. Most shortboards you're going to see a squash tail. This board, since the board is already in waves that you don't need to be making additional speed for, this board has a more neutral rounded pin, so a smaller tail block in the back, and back here behind the front fins, less area back here, just to have the board sit more neutral underneath your feet, and then also to fit into the curve of the wave better. That's a big thing to talk about is fitting into curves, since this board is made for a real curvy round wave. We've talked about it in a lot of different board reviews, but the curve of the board matches the curve of the wave, and that's when it feels the best underneath your feet. In flat, mushy, dribbly waves, like you want to have a flatter board and potentially a straighter outline just to fit into the non-curved wave. With barreling waves where there's not a flat surface anywhere, it's just round, having additional outline curve like this board has, having that round pin, and having the rocker as well as another curve, all of those curves fit into the curvier wave better and allow the board to handle better and more confidently. The next thing, comparing this board to your short board, is you'll see a lot of foam, like we talked about the additional foam up here underneath your chest and towards the nose, but also you're going to see more concentration of foam along the stringer line, and then it tapers off like right about where my fingers end. It really starts coming down on the rail and bringing the rails in to have a little bit less volume out on the rails. Because you're going faster riding this board and you want to have the ability to have that edge hold through the turns, whether it be high on the wave or low in a bottom turn, bringing a little bit of volume out of the board on the rail is going to be helpful for that. So that's a big difference. A lot of shortboards have a flatter deck, or not totally flat, but a flatter deck than this. And this board really comes down, especially where your feet are, from here, back to the tail of the board. All these boards come set up as, all the tube pigs come set up as a 5-fin, so you can run it as a thruster or a quad, depending on your preference. A lot of diehard thruster guys out there, and then a lot of guys really embracing the quad and barrel riding, so you could do this one either. This board's a future setup on here, and typically like in waves like where you'd be using this board, you'd be wanting using something in the mid-range on the ride number for the futures fins. They do come with both sets of fin setups, so you can get either futures or FCS2, but you'd be moving away from the black sticks. You'd be moving more into that mid-range, that 4 to 7 range, or even the 1 to 4 range on the fins with the ride numbers. Something like a Geordie or a John fin, or even the standard Lost fin would work really well in here as well. So the tube big, compared to your standard shortboard, you'd be riding it the same length or a few inches longer. And that's, again, it's comparing it to your standard high-performance shortboard, not to your compact shortboard, but something that you would ride in decent waves. You want to ride it at that length or a few inches longer. And it's the tube pig from Lost. It's got its own emoji. It's ready to rock and roll. And if you have any more questions about it, give us a call at 252-987-6000, or you can check it out on our website, realwatersports.com/surfing. Thanks for tuning in.